October 21, 1944, near Aachen, Germany. The sky is low and gray, pressed down by artillery smoke. Sergeant Daniel Mercer of the U.S. 1st Infantry Division lies flat in a shell crater carved into the wet earth of a beet field. Mud seeps into the seams of his M1943 field jacket. His M1 Garand rests across his forearms. The walnut stalk slick with rain and sweat. Aachen is the first German city to fall, they say. But it does not feel like victory. It feels like walking into the throat of something wounded and dangerous. Ahead of him, beyond the broken hedgerow, stands a line of concrete dragon's teeth anti-tank obstacles guarding the west wall. The Germans call it the Siegfried Line. To Mercer, it looks like a graveyard of gray stone teeth biting into the fog. Movement, whispers Private Ellis beside him, barely 20, breath shaking. Through drifting smoke, Mercer sees the Volkssturm militia and Wehrmacht infantry pulling back in disorder. Field gray tunics, coal scuttle helmets. One man limps, clutching a bandaged thigh dark with blood. They are not charging. They are retreating. That is wrong. Mercer frowns. German doctrine does not bend easily. Not here. Not in their own borderland. Artillery thunders from behind him. American 105mm shells screaming overhead. The ground convulses. Dirt and stone spray upward. A farmhouse collapses in splinters. The German line should be counterattacking. Instead, they are falling back deeper into the city. Mercer feels it in his chest. This isn't collapse. It's space being traded, pulled inward, like bait. Hold your fire, he mutters. Through his binoculars, he catches sight of something stranger still. German soldiers waving white cloth from a cellar window of a shattered brick house. Women appear behind them, civilian dresses, pale faces, hands raised. Prisoners. No, German women. They are being ushered out under guard. Ellis swallows. Why would they move civilians forward? Mercer doesn't answer. He has seen too much in France to believe in coincidence. Across the field, a German officer in a long gray coat stands in the open, watching the American advance through field glasses. Calm, calculating. Then the officer lowers the glasses and smiles. A signal flare arcs into the sky green. From somewhere behind the dragon's teeth, engines roar to life. Not tanks. Something lighter, faster. Mercer feels the trap closing even before the first burst of MG-40 fire rips across the beet field, stitching mud and flesh together in violent sprays. Ellis screams. Mercer slams into the mud, heart hammering, as bullets snap inches above his helmet. The Germans were retreating, but they were never running, and whatever just moved behind that line was never meant to defend Aachen. It was meant to break something much bigger. The beet field explodes in dirt and blood. MG-42 firesides across the ground at nearly 1,200 rounds per minute. The sound is not a rattle. It is a tear in the air itself. Mercer presses his face into the mud as bullets snap over him. Ellis is still screaming somewhere to his left. Then the screaming stops. Smoke. Get smoke out. Mercer shouts. A grenade launcher thumps behind him. White phosphorus blooms between the dragon's teeth, thick and blinding. For a moment, the German machine guns hesitate. Mercer lifts his head just enough to see what is moving behind that concrete line. Not panzers. SD.KFC, 250 half-tracks. Light armored carriers fast, low, designed for infantry assault. They surge through narrow lanes between the obstacles. Engines roaring, black crosses stark against their gray hulls. This isn't a defensive fallback. It's a mobile strike force. The green flare wasn't surrender. It was ignition. Mercer feels the shape of it now. The Germans pulled civilians forward to slow American fire, created confusion, bought seconds. Enough seconds to reposition a mechanized counter-thrust behind concealment. Bazooka team, right flank, he yells. Corporal Jimenez crawls forward with the M1A1 rocket launcher, mud coating the tube. His loader fumbles with the rocket, hands shaking. Another burst of MG-40 fire cuts the loader down mid-motion. The rocket rolls uselessly into the dirt. The first half-track breaks through the smoke. Its mounted machine gun swivels. Mercer rises to one knee and fires. 8 rounds. The Garand bucks against his shoulder. He sees sparks jump from the vehicle's frontal plate. Ineffective. The half-track veers left past the crater past them. It isn't here to crush the forward line. It's punching through. More engines follow. A breakthrough corridor opens like a wound in the American line. German infantry leap from moving carriers, MP-40s flashing in controlled bursts. They are not trying to hold ground. They are racing. Toward what? Behind Mercer, American artillery shifts to late. Shells land where the Germans were minutes ago. Empty ground. Through drifting smoke, Mercer sees the women again, those pale figures, being pushed along a trench line by Wehrmacht guards. Not hostages. Messengers. One of them carries a canvas satchel. Another green flare climbs into the sky further back this time. This strike is layered, timed, deliberate. Mercer feels cold realization settle into his gut. They're not hitting us, he mutters. A runner from Battalion HQ slides into the crater beside him. Assassin. Sergeant Radio says armors reporting movement toward our supply column. They slip the line. Mercer looks toward the distant road beyond the fields, the thin ribbon feeding ammunition, fuel, rations into the Aachen assault. The Germans didn't prepare for siege. They prepared for something else, something fast, something surgical, and now it's loose behind American lines. Another half-track punches through the smoke closer. The bazooka rocket streaks forward in a white trail of smoke. For a split second, the battlefield narrows to a single line between Mercer and the advancing half-track. He sees the German driver's face through the slit visor, young, jaw tight, goggles smeared with rain. The rocket hits low. The explosion punches upward under the vehicle's front axle. Flame erupts. The half-track jerks sideways, metal screaming, and rolls into a shallow drainage ditch. German infantry spill from the back in a tangle of bodies and weapons. Mercer doesn't watch them burn. Move, he shouts. American rifle fire cracks from the craters and hedgerows. A bar chatters to his right. One of the German soldiers crawls from the wreckage, uniform ablaze, clawing at his collar tabs. The smell of fuel and scorched wool thickens the air, but two more half-tracks break through the smoke curtain. They don't slow. They don't even glance at the destroyed vehicle. They are racing for the road behind the American assault line. Mercer scrambles from the crater, grabbing Ellis's dog tags from the mud without looking at the body. There isn't time. He sprints toward a shallow embankment overlooking the narrow supply road that snakes toward Aachen. The runner was right. Down the slope, a convoy of Dusanta half-trucks crawls forward, canvas covers flapping, red crosses marking one ambulance at the rear. Drivers unaware. The first surviving half-track bursts from the field and onto the road. Its machine gun opens up immediately. Windshield shatter. A truck swerves into a ditch. Crates of .30 caliber ammunition spill across wet pavement. A driver tumbles from his cab, blood bright against gray stone. The second half-track swings wide, blocking retreat. German infantry jump off, moving with frightening coordination. Satchel charges appear. Fuel drums explode into orange fireballs. This isn't chaos. It's choreography. Mercer slides down the embankment, boots skidding. Form on me, he yells to whoever can hear. He drops behind the smoking engine, block of a disabled truck, and fires at a German soldier planting explosives. Beneath another vehicle, the man jerks and falls, but more Germans flow past him. They aren't holding ground. They are cutting arteries. A sudden crack of rifle fire rings from the opposite side of the road. Mercer freezes. In the shattered doorway of a roadside farmhouse stands one of the German women he saw earlier. Civilian coat, hair pinned back tight. In her hands a carabiner 98K. She fires calmly, not at Mercer, but at a German soldier. The man spins and collapses. For a breathless moment, everything pauses. The woman lowers the rifle slightly and meets Mercer's eyes across the smoke-filled road. There is no panic in her face, only decision. Then she chambers another round. Behind Mercer, a fuel truck erupts in a thunderclap of flame, shockwave knocking him flat. Heat slams into his back. Shrapnel tears through canvas and flesh alike. The hidden strike. The German woman fires once more. The carabiner's recoil snaps into her shoulder, controlled, practiced. A Wehrmacht corporal, aiming his MP40 at her chest, drops before he can squeeze the trigger. Then everything breaks loose. Cease fire on the house. A German voice shouts in accented fury. Too late. One of the half-track gunners pivots his MG34 toward the farmhouse. Mercer sees it happening in slow motion, the barrel swinging. The gunner's jaw clenched. Down, Mercer roars, though she can't hear him over the inferno. The machine gun erupts. Wood splinters explode from the doorway. Brick chips spray outward. The woman vanishes inside the collapsing frame as bullets chew through timber and plaster. Mercer doesn't think. He runs. Rifle fire cracks past him as he dashes across the road. Boots slipping in fuel and blood. An American truck detonates behind him, the blast pushing him forward through smoke and sparks. He reaches the farmhouse wall just as the gunfire stops. Inside, dust hangs thick as fog. Furniture shattered, plaster drifting down like snow. The woman lies against the interior wall, breathing hard, rifle still clutched in her hands. A line of blood runs from her temple, but her eyes are clear. "You're American," she says in careful English. Mercer nods once, covering the doorway with his garand. Outside, German voices shout orders. Engines rev again. "They will leave soon," she says. "They are not here to stay." "How many?" Mercer asks. 2 platoons. Light armor only. They strike roads, radios, fuel. She swallows. Then they disappear. A hidden raiding element. Mercer feels the scale of it now. While Aachen absorbs American divisions, mobile German units slash supply lines from inside the perimeter. Slow the siege. Buy time. Why shoot your own men? He demands. Her jaw tightens. Because they shot my brother in July. For speaking against party officials. A beat. Not all of us are blind. Outside, another green flare climbs into the smoke-filled sky further west this time. Mercer's stomach drops. They're shifting, he mutters. The strike isn't random. It's sequenced. The woman struggles upright, steady despite the blood. There is a secondary road through the orchard. They will regroup there before moving again. Why tell me? She meets his eyes, steady and cold. Because if they succeed, this war lasts longer, and more of us die. A burst of MP40 fire snaps through the farmhouse window. Plaster explodes inches from Mercer's face. They found her. German boots pound toward the doorway. Mercer grabs her arm. Move. They slip through the rear of the house into the orchard, branches clawing at uniforms. Behind them, German soldiers storm the farmhouse, shouting her name. They know her. This wasn't impulse. This was betrayal. As Mercer and the woman crouch behind a stone wall overlooking the orchard road, he hears engines again more than before. And this time, they're not half-tracks. They're heavier. The engines growl low and heavy. Mercer presses against the cold stone wall, breathing through the smell of crushed apples and smoke drifting from the road behind them. The woman beside him wipes blood from her temple with the back of her sleeve. Her hands do not shake. Through the orchard trees, steel noses push into view. Panzer IVs. Late war models, side skirts dented, turret numbers half obscured by mud. Not many, 3, maybe 4, but enough. Their tracks grind through fallen fruit and broken branches, slow and deliberate. This is escalation. The earlier half-tracks were scalpels. These are hammers. They weren't supposed to bring armor this close, Mercer whispers. They were waiting, she replies. For confirmation the strike worked. As if on cue, a distant column of black smoke thickens beyond the trees. The burning supply convoy. Confirmation received. German infantry move alongside the tanks, using them as cover. Mercer spots familiar faces among them, the soldiers who stormed the farmhouse. One officer, sharp-featured, iron cross at his throat, scans the orchard carefully. He is looking for her. What is your name? Mercer asks quietly. Anna Keller. You're in deep, Anna. She nods once. So are you. The lead panzer halts at the Orchard Road junction. Its turret rotates toward the American artillery flashes still thundering near. Aachen. The commander rises halfway from the hatch, binoculars raised. They are not retreating. They are preparing to punch further west, deeper into American logistics. Mercer knows what that means. If those tanks reach the division's field headquarters, communications collapse. The siege stalls. More men die taking the city block by block. He checks his ammunition. 4 clips left. Any anti-tank positions near here? He asks. Anna hesitates. There is an old flak pit beyond the stone bridge. Abandoned. But there may be Panzerfaust stored there. A chance. Slim. German infantry begin sweeping the orchard in skirmish lines. One soldier kicks through branches only 20 yards away. Another calls out sharply he has found footprints in the mud. Mercer lowers himself further behind the wall. If we run now, they'll see us. Anna studies the pattern of movement. Calm, analytical. When the second tank advances to cover the road, there will be a gap. You sound certain. I watched them drill for years. The first panzer lurches forward again, repositioning. Its engine roars, drowning smaller sounds. The second tank begins to pivot just as she predicted. A temporary blind angle opens between armor and infantry. Anna grips his sleeve. Now. They spread low through the orchard, boots slipping on wet leaves. A German shout erupts behind them. A rifle cracks. Bark splinters inches from Mercer's head. They reach the narrow stone bridge spanning a shallow creek. Beyond it lies the abandoned flak position, a ring of sandbags and rusted metal. Mercer vaults into the pit. There, half buried under a tarp, Panzerfaust tubes. The Panzer IV's turret turns with slow, mechanical certainty. Mercer drops to one knee inside the flak pit, tearing the tarp free. The Panzerfaust tube feels crude compared to American weapons, thin metal. Simple sights, disposable, but he knows what it can do. At close range, it will punch through 70 millimeters of armor like paper, if he survives long enough to fire it. Range, he asks, and appears over the sandbags, calculating through drifting smoke. 30 meters, maybe less. Too close. The tank's hull machine gun chatters, rounds slamming into the stone bridge. Chips of granite explode outward. One fragment slices Mercer's cheek. He ignores it. German infantry spread along the orchard edge, using the tank as a shield. One soldier points toward the flak pit. They've seen them. Mercer shoulders the Panzerfaust, sighting along its simple post. The lead tank rolls forward, nose dipping as it crosses uneven ground. The commander is half exposed in the hatch, shouting orders. Mercer exhales. The world narrows. He squeezes the trigger. The rocket blasts from the tube with a violent backblast that fills the pit with dust and fire. Anna ducks as flame washes overhead. The warhead strikes the Panzer's frontal plate just right of the driver's visor. A blinding flash. For half a second, nothing. Then the turret jerks violently. Smoke erupts from the seams. The commander disappears inside as flame punches from the hatch. The tank stops moving. German infantry scatter, shouting, "Reload!" Anna yells. Mercer grabs the second Panzerfaust. His hands are black with soot. The remaining tanks react instantly, one reversing to angle its armor, the other accelerating toward the bridge. They're not withdrawing. They're enraged. The advancing tank's main gun lowers. "Down!" Mercer shouts. The 75mm cannon fires. The shell smashes into the flak pit's edge. Sandbags detonate in a storm of dirt and cloth. Mercer feels himself lifted, thrown back against cold earth. His ears ring violently. When his vision clears, Anna is dragging him upright. "You are not finished," she snaps. The second tank is almost at the bridge now, infantry using the creek bed for cover. If it crosses, they are trapped. Mercer staggers up, lifting the second Panzerfaust despite the ringing in his skull. The tank's hull looms large, iron and mud filling his vision. Too close for comfort, too close for escape. German rifle fire rips across the pit. One round punches through Mercer's sleeve, grazing flesh. He grits his teeth and steadies the sight on the tank's thinner side armor as it begins to angle for the bridge. Anna steps beside him, raising the carabiner. "Together," she says quietly. The tank's machine gun swings toward them. Mercer pulls the trigger. The second Panzerfaust roars from the tube. At this range, there is no time to doubt. The rocket slams into the Panzer IV's side skirt just behind the front road wheel. The shaped charge detonates with a violent flash. For a heartbeat, the tank keeps moving. Then flame bursts from beneath the turret ring. A dull internal thump follows ammunition cooking off inside the hull. The turret hatch blows open, and a crewman claws halfway out before collapsing backward into smoke. The tank grinds forward another meter, stops. Anna's rifle cracks beside Mercer's ear. A German infantryman in the creek bed drops before he can level his MP40. She works the bolt smoothly, mechanically, like she has done it 100 times before. But the 3rd Panzer is already repositioning. Its commander does not hesitate. He has seen two tanks destroyed in under a minute. He knows this is no random resistance. The turret swings toward the flak pit with lethal precision. "They'll flatten this position," Mercer mutters. The remaining Panzer reverses slightly, angling for distance, smarter, cautious now. German infantry regroup along the orchard edge, spreading wide to flank. This is no longer a breakthrough strike. It is containment. Mercer checks the pit. One Panzerfaust left. One. Smoke from the burning tanks thickens the orchard air, turning the late afternoon sun into a dull red smear. Ammunition inside the wrecks begins popping violently. The 3rd Panzer fires. The 75mm shell slams into the stone bridge. The structure cracks down the center, stones collapsing into the shallow creek below. Escape route gone. Anna watches the destruction without blinking. They will not risk the last tank at close range again. She's right, Mercer thinks. They will sit back, use range, grind them down. German infantry fire increases, controlled bursts pinning the flak pit. Dirt sprays inches from Mercer's face. He looks toward the burning supply column in the distance. The black smoke has begun to thin. American artillery shifts again closer now. Someone higher up has realized what is happening. Anna touches his sleeve. "If you destroy that tank, their strike fails. They cannot continue west. And if I miss?" She does not answer. The 3rd Panzer edges sideways, using the wreck of the 1st as partial cover. Its turret tracks the pit, patient. Mercer studies its movement, waiting for the right angle, waiting for exposure. A whistle shrieks overhead. American 105mm shells begin landing at the orchard's edge. The ground shakes violently. German infantry dive for cover. The Panzer hesitates. That hesitation is enough. Mercer rises fully from the pit, ignoring the rifle round snapping past him. He shoulders the final Panzerfaust, sight fixed on the narrow gap between turret and hull as the tank pivots. Anna fires steadily beside him, forcing German heads down. The Panzer's main gun flashes. Mercer squeezes the trigger, and for a split second, he cannot see if the rocket flies true. The rocket vanishes into smoke and flame. For a fraction of a second, there is nothing, no impact. No confirmation, only the thunder of the Panzer's 75mm gun firing at the same instant. The world erupts. The German shell slams into the flak pit, blasting sandbags apart and throwing Mercer backward into the dirt. His vision whites out. His ears ring like struck metal. Then, a deeper explosion answers. Through the smoke, a violent orange bloom punches from the 3rd Panzer's hull. The rocket has struck true just beneath the turret ring. The tank jerks hard to one side. Flames spill from vision slits. A sharp metallic crack echoes as something inside detonates. The turret begins to burn. German infantry freeze in disbelief. 3 tanks gone. In less than 5 minutes. Anna pulls Mercer upright by his collar. You did it. He barely hears her. He tastes blood. His left arm hangs numb, sleeve torn from shrapnel. But he sees the tank's commander scrambling from the hatch, uniform on fire, collapsing into the orchard grass. The hidden strike is broken, but it is not finished. German infantry, leaderless but furious, surge toward the flak pit in a final attempt to silence them. MP40s flash. Bullets tear into sandbags and stone. Mercer grabs his Garand, slamming a fresh clip home. 8 rounds. He fires steadily, controlled, each shot deliberate. One soldier drops, another stumbles. Anna's rifle cracks in rhythm beside him. Then the American artillery shifts again, closer, tighter. Shells begin falling directly among the orchard ranks. Dirt and shattered branches rain down. A German sergeant tries to rally his men before disappearing in a concussion of earth. The remaining infantry break. They retreat toward the road, dragging wounded, abandoning equipment. The strike force is collapsing. From the distant fields beyond the smoke, new shapes emerge, olive drab silhouettes moving low and fast. American Shermans, late model Hum for A3s crest the rise. Machine guns already firing at fleeing Germans. Their presence changes everything. Momentum swings violently. Mercer watches as one Sherman rolls past the burning wrecks, turret tracking cautiously. The commander stares down at him in disbelief. You to do this? The tanker shouts over the engine noise. Mercer cannot answer. He is watching Anna. German soldiers who stormed her home now lie scattered across the orchard. The officer, with the Iron Cross, is nowhere to be seen. She studies the battlefield without triumph, only exhaustion. In the distance, beyond the thinning smoke, another green flare rises faintly farther west than before. Mercer sees it. So does she. Her face tightens. That is not from here, she says quietly. The strike they stopped was only one blade. There are others. And somewhere beyond the next ridge, another hidden unit is already moving. The green flare fades into the gray sky beyond the ridge. Mercer feels it like a pulse under the earth. Not random, not desperation. Coordination. American Shermans fan out along the orchard road, their 76mm guns scanning for movement. Infantry from the 1st Division pour in behind them, spreading through the shattered trees, stepping over burned German armor and bodies still smoldering. A lieutenant drops into the ruined flak pit beside Mercer, eyes wide as he takes in the destroyed panzers. Report, he demands. Light mechanized strike force, Mercer replies, voice hoarse. Targeted supply and command notes. This was deliberate. The lieutenant studies Anna, her blood-streaked face, the carabiners still steady in her grip. And she is someone who doesn't want this war to last another winter, Mercer answers. Before the officer can press further, a radio operator stumbles forward with a field set slung over his shoulder. Sir, reports coming in from division. Another supply column hit 5 miles west. Bridges sabotage. Communications cut near Wersselen. The lieutenant swears under his breath. Multiple strikes. Layered. Mercer's jaw tightens. The Germans are trading ground in Aachen while slicing arteries. Behind the American advance. Not to win the city but to slow the offensive. Bleed momentum. By time. He looks to Anna. You knew about this. Her hesitation is small but visible. There were whispers, she admits. Special detachments. Mixed units, Wehrmacht, remnants of SS, local guides. They move fast. No heavy support. Only surprise. And the women. Mercer presses. She meets his gaze. Some are couriers. Some are leverage. A pause. Some are trapped. The orchard falls quiet except for crackling flames. An American medic binds Mercer's arm tightly. Pain sharpens his focus. A Sherman commander climbs down from his turret. Helmet strap loose. Colonel wants forward reconnaissance immediately. If there's another strike group, we intercept before they reach headquarters. Mercer stands despite the medic's protest. I'm going, he says. The lieutenant studies him then nods once. Anna steps forward. I know the western farm roads. They will avoid main routes now. They will use drainage paths and forest tracks. The lieutenant hesitates. Trust is thin currency in war, but time is thinner. Fine, he snaps. You ride with the recon section. Moments later, Mercer finds himself atop Sherman's rear deck, gripping steel as the tank lurches forward. Anna rides beside him, eyes scanning the darkening horizon. Dusk settles fast over the fields. Ahead, beyond a line of bare trees, faint engine noise carries on the wind. Mercer sees movement through binoculars, half-tracks again. Smaller this time, faster, and something else. Prisoners. American uniforms among them. The second strike isn't just sabotage, it's bait, and this time, they are carrying hostages. Dusk bleeds into cold blue twilight as the Shermans slow near the tree line. Mercer slides off the rear deck into damp grass, boots sinking slightly into churned soil. Ahead, through skeletal branches, he sees them clearly now to SD, KFC, 250. Half-tracks idling near a narrow farm bridge, headlights off, engines low. American prisoners kneel beside the ditch, hands bound, helmets removed. A German officer stands before them, tall, composed, long gray coat falling straight despite the mud. The same sharp-featured officer Mercer saw earlier near the farmhouse. The iron cross at his throat catches the fading light. Anna stiffens beside Mercer. He commands them. She whispers. Oberleutnant Kruger. Kruger gestures calmly as one of his men checks a pocket watch. Timing again. Always timing. They're waiting for us, Mercer says. The lieutenant crouches beside him. If we push armor forward, they'll execute the prisoners. Kruger seems to anticipate the thought. He raises one gloved hand and a German soldier presses a pistol to an American sergeant's head. The message is clear. No frontal assault. Anna's jaw tightens. He needs to delay you. 10 minutes. Maybe less. For what? Mercer asks. She scans the darkening horizon. Then she sees it. Headlights flicker faintly farther west. A convoy. German trucks. Loaded. They struck fuel, she says quietly. They will escape with it. Kruger is not just sabotaging. He is stealing American fuel to sustain the defense deeper inside Germany. Mercer feels the trap snap into place. If they attack, the prisoners die. If they wait, the fuel convoy escapes. Kruger locks eyes across the field with Mercer through binoculars. He smiles. Not arrogance. Calculation. Anna touches Mercer's arm. There is drainage culvert under the bridge. Narrow, but close. You're suggesting we crawl under them? Yes. A single gunshot cracks. One American prisoner slumps forward into the grass. Kruger lowers the smoking pistol slowly. The clock is running. Mercer turns to the lieutenant. Keep their eyes on you. Move the Shermans just enough to make him nervous. And you? Mercer checks his Garand. 3 clips left. We go under. Anna nods once. They slip into the shallow drainage ditch, water soaking through wool and canvas. The culvert pipe ahead is barely wide enough to crawl through. Above them, German boots move across the wooden planks of the bridge. Voices murmur. Metal clinks. Mercer drags himself forward through cold mud, heart pounding against steel and stone. On the other side of the culvert, he can see Krieger's boots only feet away. One clean shot. But if he misses, another gunshot echoes above. A second American body falls. Mercer steadies his breathing in the darkness beneath the bridge, and waits for the exact moment Kruger steps into view.